Hello. So yeah, I thought I'd do a video, like another video diary, getting things off my chest about yeah Aspergers, because this at the minute this channel is mostly an Aspergers channel where I do talk a lot about my condition, and because I feel like it's impacted my life a lot. It's there's a lot I need to get off my chest. I feel that's the reason why I do these videos, solely because I want to get stuff off my chest, and that's mostly about Asperger's. But yeah, I think the real reason for this video is what I've thought about, what I've mentioned in other videos, is the fact that if you got a condition or you're diagnosed with some whatever problems you have, that's an easy thing to blame it on. And for me, that's Asperger's. And I've always, as you well know, if you've come across my videos, I've always had a negative view of my condition. I've always been more, as like a kid, still am to a level, embarrassed to have Asperger's. Like, but yeah, just when it's whatever you struggle with, it's just easy to blame it on. And for example, it's clear that I struggle with finding a job. That's an easy thing to blame on Asperger's, but to be honest with you, in Great Britain, the way this world is, it's not exactly easy to get a job for anyone. But maybe it's even more of a challenge for me, for whatever reason, because of I don't know, motivation, where you have to, I don't know, like go through the process of doing a course before you can get that job. Like stuff that, in my opinion, is not really needed. Where I nearly applied for a job. I applied for ShowSec, which is one of these like 0 hour contract jobs, where I might do some stewarding at like football matches or concerts, and I had to do a course, an online course for that, where which I actually do understand because it's health and safety. Like you got a lot of responsibilities for like potential terror threats, for example. For that, I do understand, but so that's probably not a good example. But there's probably something like, I don't know, trying to get a job at Asda. Like there's probably a load of utter like. To be actually, do you know what? I nearly fucking applied for a job at Aldi, which is like a grocery store in. I think they have them in America and all over the world as well. But I nearly, like, tried applying for a job at Aldi at one point, and they made me have to do this online course, which I think was just a load of bollocks, to be honest. Because I don't see the point in health and safety unless it's got something to do with health and safety. I don't see the point, but I ended up failing that course and just tell you, right, you can't apply for this job again until 6 months has passed. Utter bullshit. It's like they purposely go out of the way to make life more challenging and hard for anyone. Never mind if I've got a condition like Asperger's or ADHD or something, like, doesn't matter, it's for anyone. So you could argue that it's just a lot harder to live, that they have to just make things harder for the sake of making things harder when there's no reason to. And like I 100% believe that, yeah, my Aspergers might make things more challenging to a level, but I don't also think the way the world works, I'm really supported into it. So like, unless you're born into privilege or nepotism, like you're a nepo baby, like you got parents born into the industry that already, like you're very limited in opportunities to get you to where you want to be. Like I was watching a video on Brooklyn Beckham today, and he's the obvious nepo baby, born into privilege, got lots of connections, and know how he had a career in photography when he's got like next to no experience or skills in photography, but he managed to publish a book. Or he had a career in being a chef when he's got next to no experience in being a chef. He just made a bacon butty at his grandma's one point and thought, oh, I enjoyed that, I want to become a chef. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh with him because, like, yeah, he's born into privilege, but forgot but he's got the resources to basically do whatever the fuck he wants almost in this world. Whereas for me, like, I'm the complete opposite. I'm not born into privilege or anything. Like, I have to work for what I want. I have to bust a bollock, scrape my fucking bollocks on the pavement to get what I want out of life. Like, work hard. And unfortunately, I get burnt out from that, possibly because of Asperger's, I don't know. There's nothing definitive. I think maybe I was going off on a tangent there, but the thing is, I mention it a lot on these videos that I don't definitively know how Asperger's affects me, and that can be frustrating. So like you question, like, why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? Why do I struggle to get a job? Why do I struggle to get a girlfriend, go on dates? And I find it more challenging when a normal person can do that more successfully than me. Like, there's no definitive answer, and it's frustrating. And like, when you've got a condition like Asperger's, it's like people make assumptions of you. I feel, not everyone, but I feel like a lot of people wants to find out about your condition. They make assumptions. They'll lump you into a box. They pigeonhole you. I even make assumptions of myself, or I used to as a kid when I didn't really know much about autism and Asperger's and stuff. I just thought, when it became obvious that I'm not as capable as the normal kids at school, I was very harsh and very critical about myself. I made assumptions. where I thought, oh, just a fucking spastic, I'm just a retard, just all that sort of stuff. Where I thought I wanted to do anything and everything to fit in, to the point where, because I got bullied myself as a kid, I thought the way to fit in was to become a bully. Like, I think back then I saw it as just having a laugh and a joke, taking the piss, but I probably went too far with that. Like, I'm no saint. I've made a lot of bad mistakes myself as a kid and stuff. But but a lot of other kids were fucking arseholes as well. Like, so, but yeah, probably a story for another video. It's just other things as well. Like, I think getting a job's the obvious one. Like, I've clearly struggled at getting a normal, formal bit of paid work, but I did okay in education. I got into uni. I got a second class degree, but I think when in education, when you follow the traditional path, it's all set up for you. And I wish there could be something done similar for work, where once you finish education, there's a job ready for you. Like I've mentioned in other videos, that education should be more apprenticeship based, where it's all revolved around doing work, volunteering. Like I've mentioned it in other videos, like, because I did art at college, I think it should have been expected where the majority of the course was, oh, because if you want to be like a graphic designer, you work for a graphic design agency or company. You want to be a photographer, you work for like a photography agency, stuff like that. You do where you do multiple tasks, multiple modules, where you pick an area that you want to do basic projects around. Like if I want to do like a photography project, I do some by working for a photography agency. I think there should have been a big project at the very least where you're actually volunteering, maybe a job ready for you at the end of the course. Like, I think there could be more done for people to transition from education into work. I think there definitely could be more done into that, because I've clearly struggled with that. It's like they chew you up, spit you out, and it's like spit you out into the wilderness when you got next to no life experience, and you're like, what now? What do I do now? Like socialising, going on nights out, what normal people do, like they seem to have clips and all that sort of stuff. I've clearly struggled with that, and that's another thing I blame my Aspergers on. But I don't know if that really definitively is that. I don't know. And I think just thinking the worst as well. Like I definitely think the worst, where I feel like I've got eyes at the back of my head. I'm like, probably because of past experiences at school, because of like being bait for having the piss taken out of me, probably because of Aspergers, where I'm hyper aware of things around me. Like, is that a personal attack on me? Like, overtaking the piss out of me and they're making fun out of me because you were used to that at school. But at the end of the day, it's probably all in my head. Like, probably is, but I'm hyper aware of stuff. Like, I've started attending a few like social sort of groups, and I'm always thinking, oh, did that come across weird, or have I taken the piss out of me because of that? Like, I'm always hyper aware of things, but at the end of the day, you just have to ignore it and move on, which I do. I don't really react to it because that's me putting on the mask, trying to be neurotypical, where you just ignore it and move on, which mostly I actually do think I do a good job of, to be honest. But I'm still like hyper aware of people taking the piss, like, and stuff like that. Because of I don't know, like, because of my Asperger's, I might do something weird without meaning to be weird, but you just can't help it, or you might say something a bit weird without meaning to. You may just come out with the wrong thing because of like nerves, like, and anxiety and all that. But I think that's like the example of me pigeonholing myself into a box, making assumptions of myself rather than everyone else making assumptions, thinking the worst. Because I think I'm probably guilty of that, and I'm probably the worst at it. Like, whatever I struggle in, whatever mistake I make, it's like I blame it on Asperger's. Making bad decisions. Like, I think it's took me this year to admit that I'm clumsy in decision making, where, or I make questionable decisions, or I don't know, like, I get a bit paranoid over stuff, like, so for example, my sister might say something and I'm making an assumption, like, and kind of like get a bit arsy about it when there was no reason to be arsy about it. Like, I can do weird things like that. Don't know how to explain it well. Or I go to Anthony's man club and there was a question saying, oh, what's one thing task you used to enjoy as a kid but you don't do anymore? And I used to say, oh, I used to be more active as a kid. I used to play a bit of cricket, I used to play a bit of golf, I used to be a bit sporty. That's probably just me like showing off, like, oh, look how athletic I was, when at the end of the day I probably wasn't even athletic. I barely picked into the cricket team. I just turned up to training and just pissed about basically. But I think a guy said, you know, I think he might be a bit autistic himself, to be honest. He mentioned, sorry, can I butt in? What's stopping you from doing that? And I can tell he's probably autistic because he's one of them where he ain't afraid to put you on the spot, you know, ask you uncomfortable questions and judging him like talking to other people and how he reacts to people. He can look lost sometimes, and I thought that's probably an autistic way to react to something. Don't know if he is autistic, but he seems it anyway. But I'm going off topic again. That's probably another autistic thing, another Asperger's thing. But yeah, I think ultimately this video is about blaming things on Asperger's. Whatever you struggle with is blamed on the Asperger's, and I think I've got my point across. I think enough that I can get across without rambling on about random shit and going off topic. But yeah, catch you in another video. Goodbye.